Hi, fellow birdies. Welcome to another edition of Mr. Songbird's Writing Mukbang. How are you guys doing today? Today, I know it's been a few weeks since I've even done an eating version, but honestly, I had the feeling you guys enjoyed these a lot, and I wanted to make sure to do one with you guys again. Now, this time I got one of my favorite dishes. It's a recipe called fast baked fish. It's basically tilapia, some paprika, some seasoned salt, rubbed with butter, and baked. And this is garlic mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes with a bit of extra garlic. Delicious. It's been a while since I had the opportunity to do these because, well, Chris was out for a couple weeks, and it was hard to schedule a time to actually do one of these. And then I did the reading a lot of the first chapter of my book. Well, not really the full first chapter, just the first scene. That was a lot of fun. However, I'm afraid I have some bad news for you guys. I will not be doing the reading for my Audible. Here's why. Although I enjoyed doing it, and although you guys really enjoyed listening to me read it aloud, how should I put this? I made a promise to myself a long time ago that I would not curse or swear. And I feel it's very important that I keep those sorts of promises, even if it's just to me. And what I'd forgotten was that although I don't swear, some of the characters in my book swear. So it's not something I can do. Like, I'd either have to be like dubbing over, those lines by have someone else do them for me, or like substitute words, and that just doesn't work well for an Audible. As such, I'm going to hire out for those. I'll probably go see if either Audible says they can do it for a flat fee, or I can look online at Fiverr or something. I'm going to look at both options and see which one works better. But if there was any swearing, I'd love to do it. But as I made that promise to myself, I simply can't do it. These are really good. There's a reason I keep asking my wife to make these. Speaking of my book, I've continued to work on the second book for the main series. I'm closing on the 16,000 word mark. Although I had to do some rewrites of the beginning. My writing coach said that although a good chunk of it was good, how should I put this? I think I mentioned this last time that I discussed my writing, but basically, I violated one of the precepts of show, don't tell. If someone is having difficulty with a task, for example, you need to show them having difficulty with that task. Not to say he had difficulty with that task, no matter how well worded that telling is. Although it wasn't for that story, however, in one of the other ones, I made another mistake that I want to talk to you guys about. It's very important that your characters are able to be proactive. By which I mean, simply put, they're able to make choices and decisions and attempt to put those into effect. They may not succeed, but it's important they're able to do something. For example, imagine a story where the main character is captured and there's no way out, and they can't do anything about it. No matter how well written that story is, that would get pretty boring. Now, that doesn't, and conversely, imagine that same story, but instead of trying to work their way out, they try a different tack. They try to bond with the captor and get the captor to allow them to allow them to gain more freedoms and then use that to escape. That's them being proactive. And the problem with the story I was writing is simply put, I had put my main character in a position where there's absolutely bupkis he could do. And that kind of ruined the story a little bit. So my writing coach and I worked very hard to find a way to fix that problem. Now, speaking of choices, let's talk about choices you can make while writing. As a writer, there's a number of rules you can break, but certain ones are very important to keep. Number one, in any paragraph that has one person talking, that is the only person that should be talking. Period. By which I mean any dialogue that's in its quotations should be for that one character and one character only. You can do something like Roberta said, "You're stupid," and Daniel protested. She continued, "And you're unintelligent, a wastrel." But you can't say, Roberta said you're stupid. Daniel said, "I'm not." And Roberta continued, "You're a wastrel," in the same paragraph. The reason is because, simply put, your reader's mind is trained to look as, when in doubt, they're going to expect the dialogue to be from the same person. There might be things that happen in the middle, but they will always expect the same person in one and to be talking throughout that paragraph. Because the number one thing you want to avoid doing, it's one thing for the reader to reread a story because they like it. It's another thing entirely for them to have to reread it to make sense of what you just said in the story. Because when you do that, it bogs them down. It's like taking a big clump of molasses and tossing it into the gears of your story. It grinds it to a halt. And it's very easy to tell the difference. Like, when I'm reading something well written, I can read very fast and not miss anything of importance. Like, when I'm reading something of low quality, though, oftentimes I'll get tripped up, slowed down, and spend a minute rereading the same paragraph 2 or 3 times. And trust me, that's not something you want to have happen. It's one thing to and for them to realize that little detail that you mentioned in paragraph 5 of chapter 6 would turn out to be really important, and go back to reread it to see it more thoroughly. But like I said, it's another thing entirely for them to have to reread it just to comprehend what the hell you're saying. on that note, that's why it's very important to have someone honestly review your work. The criticism should be constructive, of course, but you should expect to be criticized. It's important because a yes man or yes woman doesn't really tell you anything. Eventually, your work will be criticized, whether it's by the person that you trust or by a reviewer or angry reader. It's better to do it with an honest partner beforehand, because once your story's out, editing becomes significantly more difficult. And honestly, it's pretty much impossible after a certain stage. Like, once you've already pressed publish, it's hard to go back and make significant alterations without really angering the readers. So in short, today, make sure to, 1, allow your characters to be proactive. Let them make choices and make decisions and try to implement them. Make sure you have someone honest who will review it. And make sure that when you're writing dialogue in a paragraph, make sure it's all for one person. Now, I kind of ate it a little bit faster than I thought. But honestly, I just liked it so much. If you like, I'll make sure to put the recipe in the description below or in the pinned comment. But for now, have a great evening. I'll see you later. Bye, fellow birdies.